Welcome to Alberta Conservation Association's Harvest Your Own podcast, the resource for everything hunting, navigating through the field, the butcher shop, and the kitchen. Life is all about great food. Let's get started.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Brad Fenson, an avid outdoor enthusiast who has worked as a freelance journalist, photographer, and public speaker for over 3 decades. I have hunted, fished, and foraged all my life and hope to share my passion for the outdoors. Along the way, I want to encourage everyone to harvest wild proteins and enjoy the satisfaction of providing the next meal for your family. Our goal is to educate, entertain, and inspire individuals to get outdoors and create a connection between food, health, and your future meals. Welcome to Harvest Your Own. Today we have 3 guests on the podcast, and it's sort of a celebration. It's talking about the 15 years of the Taber Pheasant Festival. Now, for me, it's hard to believe that we've actually been doing this for 15 years. I remember the first one quite well and the early years, but 15 years under our belt, which means there's been a lot of hunters and a lot of pheasants and a lot of celebrating the hunting community, getting novice people involved. The festival works in many different ways, and I think it's been a huge success overall. Tell us briefly, what is the Pheasant Festival?
It's a lot. It started 15 years ago. It was actually a number of folks behind the scenes at ACA, not only some managers and staff, but also the board of directors at the time. It was, without going into all the details, essentially it was sort of a meeting of the minds where there wasn't anything like it, really. I know there was other, there's fishing derbies and there's invitational shoots and whatnot that have gone on in Alberta for many years, but there really wasn't anything like this festival. And so I guess collectively we thought it was needed for a variety of reasons, not just to have something like it, but also a way to really engage the general public to getting folks, and not only existing hunters, but also the new crop, the new generation of hunters, and new demographics out to trying hunting for the first time. And so when the brainstorming was happening, there's pros and cons of every different type of hunting scenario, but upland game bird hunting is relatively easy to do as well as to get into, and pheasants are just such a great signature species that it all kind of came together and thought, maybe we should put on an event that showcases pheasants because they're a lot of fun. It's going to be really attractive to a wide variety of people, and it should be relatively easy, just thinking of it from a purely logistical point of view. It should be relatively easy to put together an event like that. And so it all kind of quickly came together and wanted a place down in southern Alberta. Taber seemed to be a great location in order to have this. And there's lots of other factors. I'm sort of skimming it over really quickly, but there's also economic development for rural locations and all sorts of other activities. And that's kind of how it all came to be about 15 years ago.
There was a lot going on 15 years ago that led to this. And that is Ken Kranrod, Vice President of Alberta Conservation Association and local historian. And we also have Jalen Hulit, who is a biologist in southern Alberta, who plays a big role in our pheasant release program and the festival. And of course, Julie Landry-Deboer, who is, how do I describe her? She is the backbone to the festival. She is at everyone's beck and call to solve problems, issues. And I think a lot of the hunters that come to Pheasant Festival come just to see Julie.
I think so too. Yeah. Bearing gifts.
Yeah.
So
a ton of hunters that have come multiple years in a row. So they get to become like family. Basically, we know their names. They know, we recognize their smile as they come through the door, and they're ready to go.
Yeah. Julie, you've been there since day one. You were at the first festival.
I was. I was helping first year when we didn't know what the outcome was going to be and how long we were going to continue. The initial idea was to be there for 3 years and see how it goes, and now we're in year 15. So I think we're doing something great and making an impact.
Yeah, and I know you've had a big impact in terms of where the festival has developed and grown. You know, if we look back at the office and all the help we had 15 years ago, it was pretty minor compared to what we have. Now there's signs all over town, and there's pheasant blow-ups that are on the community building. Yeah. And man, I tell you what, everyone knows what's going on in Taber the week of the festival. And you've had a big part in that in terms of coordinating and helping get everything done.
Yeah, from year 1 to year 15, like we basically have a full week of events in the evening this year. So we've included all kinds of culinary tastings and promotions of local businesses, and there's just a lot more going on from year 1 to year 15. And I think it's kudos to the community to have put in a lot of effort into promoting it and trying to make hunting something that's a positive thing.
It's great to see the community really respond and embrace it, whether it's the businesses, the people, or whatever. Jalen, you have a big role too. You're the reason hunters, most of them, want to hit the field. You're responsible for getting those birds distributed, released. Man, that's got to be a coordination nightmare.
Yeah, for sure. So I wouldn't say I'm the sole reason. I think there's 8 or 9 different trucks that are loaded up with pheasants each day that head out to the different sites to get the birds out there for the hunters to harvest. So it's a huge task that ACA and staff has geared up for and do a great job getting those birds on the site.
Yeah, can you sort of summarize how many birds go out a day or in the week and are included with the novice hunt? What are we looking at in terms of the event overall?
Yeah, so overall, throughout the whole week, including the novice hunt, there's 5,100 pheasants per day. Each site gets 20 birds a site each day for a total of, I might be doing my math wrong off the top of my head here. Julie might know the exact numbers quicker than I do.
You're on the right track. 15 to 20 per day on each site. Yeah.
And there's 40 sites.
40 sites that we release at. And it's about...
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is. 800 birds total a day.
Yeah, right? He's going so fast he doesn't have time to count the birds.
Yeah, this wasn't meant to be a math test. The bottom line is there's a lot of roosters that are released out there.
Yep.
And it makes for a lot of fun and recreation and camaraderie, and I don't know how else to describe it, but most of the people going out and coming back have smiles on their face.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's exactly it. And it wouldn't be possible. We're talking about these sites and 40 sites without the landowners that are involved and get asked every year for us to release the pheasants onto their land. It's a big thing to allow hunters for a week straight out on their sites, and landowners have been super gracious over the 15 years to continue ACA coming back and releasing pheasants. We are now to the point where I know Julie and myself, we get calls from different landowners now asking for pheasant release sites on their place. So it's pretty cool to see that the community and even the landowners are really liking what's happening during the festival.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jalen, do you help coordinate all of that? Do you get the landowner signed up and approach some because obviously you don't get 40 of them calling you, or are we at that point where 40 landowners say, hey, we want to be involved this year?
No, so some background on that. I do help out. So we, over the years, it's grown and evolved, and landowners have changed. But we have our sites that we use every year, and we know we are going to be using them unless something unforeseen has happened to them. But we go out before the festival and do some site checks and just confirm that everything's looking good. We've had years where there's been fires roll through sites, or sites have turned into gravel pits and different things like that we obviously can't control. So we do that, and then we reach out to the landowners and confirm that for another year that they're willing and wanting to have Taber Pheasant Festival sites on their property and okay with us releasing pheasants and having hunters on their sites. And we don't have too many landowners turn us down, which is pretty great. Their involvement is obviously the number one success behind the festival, because if we didn't have the landowners involvement, we wouldn't have sites to release birds. So it's been great. And then, on top of that, we get landowners whose sites we've used in the past who maybe we went away from or didn't use one year for one reason or another. They call us up sometimes and ask if we would be wanting to have a site back on their property.
Well, I mean,
it's pretty cool.
That's pretty special. When you consider there's lots of jurisdictions in North America where you have to pay for access and it's hard to get permission on private land. Alberta should be proud of itself, and the landowners, how gracious to say, let's have 8 hunters come on our day every day for a week is a huge accomplishment in 15 years. Like year one, I'm sure you were scrambling, or somebody was scrambling to get out there and find 40 sites and 40 landowners, and nobody knew what the festival was or what it was going to offer. And there must have been some interesting negotiations going on to get it all started. But, congratulations on the entire team, because it's not just 3 people or 4. It really is an army of people. ACA staff is heavily involved in all parts of it, but the town is involved, community, and there's lots of other partners as well. Mm-hmm. And don't forget the landowners. Yeah.
No, it takes a lot of people to put it together. Like you say, not only ACA staff, a lot of whom are in Lethbridge, but actually there's a lot of staff come from around the organization across the province at that one time of the year. Everybody talks about getting together in Taber and whatnot, and it's a great morale booster as well, and allowing staff that normally wouldn't get to know each other. We all meet at Taber once a year, and that's great. But then also definitely the landowners, like who's been mentioned, we simply wouldn't have the festival without the landowners. So they're vital to it. And then the local committee who helps Julie plan the event. I mean, the first committee meeting takes place the month after the festival had happened. It takes a year to put it all together. And then definitely other supporters as well, whether it's local businesses, hotels, restaurants, etc., who do get involved. Often they have discounts for hunters that are coming in and being part of the festival, which is always great. But then also other businesses from around who donate items, whether it's to be used at the festival or raffled or auctioned off to help raise money for the festival. There's a lot of interest. And since I'm quite often involved in that part, what I've been seeing actually more recently, even though it's been 15 years, sometimes it takes time for the word to get out. But we've been doing it long enough and it's such a great festival that more and more I'm finding I get calls from people, businesses, not only in Alberta, but also outside, as far away as Ontario, saying, hey, I've heard about this Taber Pheasant Festival. Let me know a little bit more about it. And I have these kinds of products or whatever. Is it possible for me to come out and have a booth there or provide you some sort of items to auction off and whatnot? So the festival is getting known on a much broader basis, actually, which is great.
Yeah, some of this might be speculation, but what do you think the locals get out of it, or the town, or the businesses?
I think there's a direct, tangible benefit to them. I mean, when you have 800 to 1,000 hunters descend on Taber for the better part of a week, and it's actually starting to get a bit of a shoulder season now, because there's always leftover birds, if you will, that can be that can be hunted, and there's been relationships developed between some hunters and landowners. You have it's the age-old aspect of destination tourism based on hunting, something that used to be so big in Canada through, I guess, the heyday, if you will, of hunting, the traditional heyday of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and maybe into the 80s to some degree, where people were going around to these smaller communities and doing a variety of hunting, including upland game birds, that we kind of lost a little bit of that over time. But this is a distinct example of how that is still possible, and was one of the main reasons, economic development, that was behind creating the festival in the first place, was that if there's a will, you can actually do this. And so you have out-of-towners, if you will, coming into town to stay at hotels, buy meals, buy gas for their trucks, buy ammunition, supplies, all these sorts of things. And I do end up talking informally with a number of business owners in town, and they noticed the difference. In fact, it was a number of years ago already. They said that it used to be that it was a toss-up in town between Christmas and Mother's Day as to when you saw a bit of a spike in sales. And now Taber Pheasant Festival has taken over that spot, that it is noticeable. Wow. And we actually, this is off the cuff, so I can't remember the exact year that it happened, but we actually won an Alberta Sustainable Tourism Award for the Taber Pheasant Festival, showing that you can have a viable, sustainable tourism event that makes a difference, that revolves around hunting. So that's saying something.
This podcast is produced for Harvest Your Own, a program dedicated to those who want to reconnect with food and health through their experiences outdoors. HarvestYourOwn.ca is a resource for individuals to learn more about hunting and the outdoors. There's information to get you started and ensure that your compass stays pointed in the right direction to be successful. Where's your next meal coming from?
Interesting. Now, there's benefits for other communities too, because people come from all over. Julie, you probably know over the years, what are some of the furthest destinations people have traveled to attend the Pheasant Festival?
Well, that is a very good question. I know we've had people all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. We've had people from Australia, China, with people from the Yukon, like Whitehorse, all over the U.S., several states. I can think of like 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6 different states. So people from everywhere. Wow. And we brought in, like over the years, roughly just over 10,000 hunters in the 15 years. And a lot of those are repeats, but 10,000 people have walked through the doors in the last 15 years. That's
impressive. I can tell you that I'd like to be a repeat, because in the early years, it was easy to draw a hunting location every year. But it's interesting with the history of the festival and more people coming from obviously all over the world, all over North America, and lots of Alberta interest. There's a bit of a competition to get a spot now, and it makes it even that much more special when you do get drawn. Who can tell me a little bit about how people can find out about the festival and get in on the process to actually get a hunting spot, and who could come with them?
Well, I'll just jump in right at the start of that. One of the best ways to find out about it is basically go to ACA's website. And I think it's down near the bottom of the website. There's a link, something like stay in touch or stay connected, that sort of a thing. And click on that. And then you have the option of being included on various mailing databases. And what I mean by that is electronic mailing databases. Constant Contact, I believe, is what we use. And there's a variety of them, general one and whatnot. And then there's one I believe specifically associated with the Taber Pheasant Festival. So that's the best way, through as just a background thing, is to be connected with us through our electronic newsletter system, where roughly every month they go out and you are right in the know as to what is going on regarding the festival. And there's other things too, like our Kids Can Catch program and hunting regulation issues and whatnot. But that's the best way in the background to always stay in touch with what's going on.
Yeah, and you have to apply for the draws. There's a June deadline. Mm-hmm. And you're notified by email whether you've drawn a site or not.
Exactly. And contrary to some belief, actually, as to how random it is, I can completely vouch for the fact that it is 100% complete random. It is all computer generated and whatnot when we have all of the entrants put in. And then you hit go, and the program sorts through and spits out all of the random draws that are done, and then starts the process of reaching out to the individual hunters and finding out if they can actually make it and what days and all of that sort of stuff. There's a lot of effort that goes into it, but it is 100% completely random. And I guess one little, I don't know how secret this is, but one little tip I know that a lot of hunters who are back fairly regularly do is if you go out with a group of buddies, because you're allowed a hunting party of 4 people, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Julie. But
no, that's correct.
You have your group of 4. Don't just one person apply. every single person from your group should apply. And then that way you have 4 times the chances of just one person. And that way, if one of the guys gets in, the whole group can go. And that's not a secret or anything, I don't think, for most people, because a lot of the people that are there regularly, that's essentially what they do to increase their chances.
Yeah. It's a strategy to put it in there, but you can only have a maximum of 2 spots during the week. Is that correct, Julie?
No, you can have up to 3.
Okay.
Because your maximum possession limit is 6, right? So you can have 2 per day. If you are successful getting 2 each day, you can only have 6 in possession. Up to 3 days, but a lot of people only get 2. It's just there's so many people coming. We get between 700 and 800 hunters every year.
Yeah, it's significant. Now, somebody does get drawn. You don't have to list your hunting party ahead of time, but then you get on the phone and find out who has the best dogs and who might be working their dogs during the summer to make sure. I'd phoned Jalen right away to make sure his lab comes out, because he's obviously got the dog tuned up, and I've watched him at the novice event, and your dog is wonderful, Jalen. He's a wonder to watch. What happens?
Thank you.
What happens when people hit Taber the day of the festival? You got drawn for a morning hunt. What happens?
Basically, throughout the whole festival, sort of the backbone of the festival, if you will, is the hunter registration office, which is set up in the community center there, right on the main road when you come in from the west there, on the left-hand side. That's where we set up the registration office. The town of Taber provides us that space for free. Another example of just how everybody comes together to help make it happen. And that's where Julie will be sitting, along with a few other ACA staff. And so the hunters need to check in there and get their hunter package, if you will, which is the sites that they've been drawn for. And there's information and maps and whatnot, huge map on the wall to chat about where they're going to be going. There's also the opportunity for buying some raffle tickets there on a variety of items. We always have that, with all the funds going right back into the festival, and just generally chat about the festival and hunting and whatnot. And so that office is open. It will start, I believe, on the afternoon of the Sunday, because a lot of folks like to come in, they get their packages the day before in case they got a morning hunt, and then they're ready to go in the morning. And then it's open through the whole week there. So that's really what kind of kicks it off. There are other events, some folks want to have their kids or first timers as part of the novice shoot that takes place on the weekend prior, the Saturday, Sunday, which is always great, introducing folks brand new to the whole sport of pheasant hunting.
How many spots are open for the novice hunt?
The novice hunt, it's Saturday and Sunday, and we have a morning and afternoon session of each day. So that's 4 sessions, and each session has 30 spots in it. Oh, wow. So 120. That also opens up for people to register in it early on. And it is already full. It fills up pretty quick, which is a demonstration of the interest that's out there for getting kids and first timers out trying it.
We've done a few podcasts with participants, and they absolutely love the program. Yeah. And it's a confidence booster, and they learn a lot there, everything from shooting clays ahead of time to harvesting birds. They get to clean them themselves, and they walk away with a few recipes in hand in terms of how to deal with them at home.
Exactly. And actually, we can't mention the novice shoot without tipping the hat to AHIA, or Alberta Hunter Education Instructors Association. Wonderful group. They have been partners with us since day one, and they're the ones who actually set up the temporary range out there to get the novices shouldering and shooting shotguns, some of them for the very first time, getting them dialed in on hitting targets in flight and whatnot. And the instructors are great. I can't say enough about what an awesome job they do and how excellent they are to work with.
Yeah. I want to get Julie to provide a little more detail in the office, because I think that the attention to detail for hunters is really important. You got a crew of hunters that come in from northern Alberta, don't know Taber at all. They walk into the office, they register. And what do you give them to get them to the right site and get them started?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, everyone gets this wonderful package, which includes their permission slip to the site for their allotted day and time slot. So it's either morning or afternoon. And we give them maps and written directions on how to get to each site. And this year we're putting a pin in there so that they can put it into their phone if they need. And then we have the ND of Taber wall map on the wall so that they can take a look and navigate from Taber So to show them where Taber is, and we have folks there helping from like local guys that like Alan Herbst, who's a local hunting enthusiast who sits there and helps people like navigate who haven't come to the MD of Taber. So we show them how to get there, and their package gives them all kinds of information like the hunting rules for the event, like everything that we follow, the hunter regs, and we give them information on all our sponsors. We give them information on our events, and they can buy raffle tickets. They can find our, branded Taber Pheasant Festival beer. There's all kinds of things they get from us. And then they get information on if there's ever something of concern. We have a phone number that they can call, and then we can report anything to Fish and Wildlife if we need to. Like if there's anything that that needs to be reported, we can do that. We try to give them everything that they need, and they leave going out the doors, and they're ready to go. They know what time to be there. They know their boundaries of their site and what they can and cannot do. And they always come back and have tons of stories, and they bring in their dogs, and they show us pictures. And yeah, they very, very happy folks for the most part. And,
it's a very positive experience. I've sat back and watched a few times, and you're there most of the time, and you have a lot of staff that help out. But I think that interaction with the staff in the office is a big part of the Pheasant Festival and makes people feel very excited and proud of what they're doing and all the rest of it.
This podcast was made possible by Alberta Conservation Association and the Harvest Your Own community. If you're interested in harvesting your own food, there's a comprehensive collection of information to gain insight and knowledge. Head to the field, harvest your own protein, prepare it, and taste the results. HarvestYourOwn.ca is a library of information from getting started and geared up to processing, butchering, and cooking wild game to make the connection between health and food.
Jalen, I got to ask you, in terms of the pheasants, the habitat properties that you've got picked out for these sites, they're good pheasant habitat. It's not like it's a bald piece of prairie or a stubble field where you put birds out and they all run to the edge. When you put birds out on these sites, most of them are going to be right there for the next day. And I'd like to say that you would think it would be like shooting fish in a barrel, but it's a real pheasant hunt. Like, I'm suggesting that people bring a dog because without it, it's going to be real challenging.
Absolutely. I think, going back over the last 15 years, it's really, really evolved, and obviously sites have changed. And we have Taber area is home to some of the best pheasant hunting habitat, in southern Alberta, I'd say. And I think, it goes to show too how the landowners themselves look at habitats and properly managing their grasslands and land that they either farm or graze cattle on to promote wildlife habitat and make sure that they're not overgrazing. And it is challenging. We got all sorts of different sites, whether they're on the river and you have to walk down the steep coulees down to the cottonwood stands and hunt all the shrubs that are in between the uplands to the cottonwood stands, or we have wetlands out in the prairies. There's a whole bunch of different variety of sites, but they all have their little unique challenges, and they do have lots to cover, and birds hide really well, and they stick to the sites really good. I think Julie and Ken have mentioned that most hunters are very successful, so it's showing that birds aren't being pushed off of the sites or leaving the sites when they're released. They're staying there for the duration of the week that the festival runs.
Yeah. And actually, I just wanted to jump in here with what Jalen was saying is another aspect. This is sort of pulling back out to the 30,000 foot level now, is about the festival, is that there's, when you go back to the inception of the festival, and I think it's come to be true, is that there's a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot more to the festival than simply hunting pheasants. I mean, we talk about that, right? And it certainly is the core piece, and it's very exciting, and that's one of the main reasons of why it was created. But the Taber Pheasant Festival was much more than that. It was pheasant hunting, not only for experienced hunters, sort of helping to bring back pheasant hunting from what it used to be. Brad, you referred to before that it was a different time back then and whatnot. It's evolved over 15 years. So there's certainly that's the case. And then providing a great venue, especially for people that don't have hunting connections within, say, their own family or friend network, getting them into hunting and pheasant hunting for the first time, which is great. But then there's also the landowner aspect and having habitat, demonstrating that you can have hunting on land that is actually also active agriculturally without compromising the economic viability of the operation. You get people thinking about that. You're reconnecting hunters and landowners, so building those bridges that either were never built before or maybe a few of them had been burned, but trying to get that going again. You get local businesses involved with not only hunters, but also with landowners and with people that are involved directly in the festival. So you have all these different elements, and you get people talking again and forming those connections, and it's using pheasant hunting as the common thread for doing that. And that's what's really nice, is it's not just about going out and getting a few birds. It's much, much more than that. And over the last 15 years, I think it's demonstrated that.
Yeah, and I've seen it. I've seen more people returning to Taber, even if they don't draw a hunting site, to participate in pheasant hunting and all of the extra things that occur. It's a special week. It's not just pheasant hunting. What else does the ACA help coordinate to put on that week? There's culinary events and fundraisers, and might even be some scotch tasting.
There's, it's funny you mentioned that. And Julie had kind of alluded to it originally. Again, everybody focuses on the pheasant hunting, which that's the core of the festival throughout all the days. But there are the other events. We talked briefly about the novice shoot that starts the first weekend, specifically aimed at kids and first timers, which is wonderful. And then we have, because you have all of these hunters in town that they're hunting during the day, but then there's nothing necessarily in the evening. You get back, you shower up, have supper, and then what do you do? And so right from the beginning, it's evolved over time, but right from the beginning, we always wanted to have evening events to not only have something for hunters to do, but also showcase other aspects. And we've done a wide variety of stuff over the years. But this year, on the Monday, we have an event called the Game to Gourmet, which we have a number of chefs in, more this year than ever before. I think there's a total of 10 chefs and sous chefs all together that have prepared pheasant in a variety of ways. And people can buy tickets and attend that event to get a firsthand showing of what you can do with the game that you harvest. And then the Tuesday is actually a brand new event this year, and it's going over very well. I'm very excited about it. It's called the Hound and Harvest Social. And so it's basically an event geared toward hunting dogs, all different aspects of that, plus also the ability for local businesses and farms and restaurants and other product creators and whatnot to showcase their wares. That's at the Curling Club in there. And so we've got over 20 exhibitors there with a few demonstrations and whatnot, which is great. Wednesday is the Whiskey and Pheasant tasting event, which is where myself with the whiskeys and Brad with his culinary expertise there is going to have a few pheasant dishes available for tasting. And we've actually, again, this is another testament to the festival getting known and growing. We've got 2 other distilleries which are going to be there, and a shotgun manufacturer who's going to be there showing off their products. And then the whole week starts to wrap up on the Thursday with the big celebration dinner, which is basically a huge banquet put on locally with 400 attendants usually to help sort of wrap it up, thank everybody, and raise money again for the following year. So we have all those events occurring in the evening, which is great. It literally does make it into a hunting festival.
It really does, and hunters appreciate it. And like I said, more and more people are showing up for the events because, as Jalen alluded to, Taber has some great pheasant habitat in the area. There's irrigation lands. There's all kinds of release sites. There's landowners that you can approach. There's lots of places to go look for and find pheasants.
You bet.
But it's that social aspect of it, the fraternity of hunters in the evening. That big chef event always amazes me. That the place is packed.
Yeah.
And they cook hundreds of pheasants in so many different ways that it's inspiring.
It is very much so. That event has really evolved over the years, and not only does it sell out relatively quickly, I think there's still a few tickets left, but they go fast, and it's a great opportunity to try pheasant in so many different ways. There's some traditional, well, actually very few traditional ways it's cooked. More often than not, you're getting pheasant done in different recipes inspired from around the world. And I know the chefs really enjoy it too, because quite often, again, in this modern world, somebody goes into the culinary industry and they learn a certain way, and it's, you get your food from the various suppliers and you cook it in your kitchen and that's that. A lot of these chefs, especially one fellow in particular, returns every year. It was new to him, the whole aspect of, no, you can actually go out and harvest your own game and then have the opportunity to utilize it in all these different ways. And he has totally jumped on board, and he inspires the other chefs that show up now. So it's a great event. If you can get a ticket to it, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Well, I'd encourage any hunter or aspiring hunter to hit Taber. Mm-hmm. When is the event?
It is the third week of October. If you have that handy, Julie, is it the 21st?
Yes, October 18th to the 25th.
Right.
25th.
So if you're a hunter or an aspiring hunter, that is a great time to be in Taber. Mm-hmm. There's lots going on for hunters. There's lots of hunting, lots of opportunity. And if you don't have a site to hunt, you'll learn more about the festival and learn to find a few spots on your own where there are birds. So on a closing note, if anyone was interested in helping out, becoming a partner, a sponsor, a volunteer of some type, how do they get involved? What could people do?
There's often opportunities to help out in many different ways. Largely what it comes down to is just staying in touch with us. You can go to find Alberta Conservation Association or type in Taber Pheasant Festival and follow your nose to our webpage on it. And we have links on there for staying connected. There's also phone numbers there. I'm pretty sure my phone number's on there. So just give me a ring and we can find out what you would like to do, what you'd like to help out with. Certainly help is always welcome. And then I guess going back to a business development perspective as well, we can always benefit from more sponsors as well. It takes a lot to put these festivals on. And so if anybody out there listening to this is owner or manager of a business and you think this might be something good for you to be involved with, we can always, we can pretty much work with anyone and anything. So would love to hear from anyone.
Hats off to the Alberta Conservation Association for being so involved in hunting and pheasant hunting. Julie, thanks for being the ambassador to all the hunters that show up. I know that they love you there and look forward to seeing you. Jalen, again, a very important role in terms of having those birds wild and ready for some pretty crazy flushes. That's what gets our heartbeat going most of the time. So it's not a few individuals, it's an army of people, staff and volunteers and community that make this happen. And it's something worth celebrating.
Very much so.
I have one thing that I'd like to say because from a hunter, and I just think it fits really well with this. They wrote, I love and the question was, why do they like hunting pheasants and coming? He said they love the outdoors, the fellowship, and to spend time with the dog and watching him do his magic.
I couldn't agree more.
Yep, exactly.
Well, thanks for sharing the message, not only about the Taber Pheasant Festival, but celebrating 15 years of success. It's been a huge success. It's grown. There's more interest than ever. And we look forward to years to come and more influence through Taber, through pheasants, through the hunting community.
Yeah, it's good. It's only going to get better.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Brad.
Wonderful. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
We hope to inspire people to reconnect with nature and appreciate where your food comes from by harvesting your own. For more information on getting started or to learn specifics about the Field to Fork experience, visit harvestyourown.ca and follow on Facebook and Instagram. Check back often for new material, recipes, and videos that are posted regularly. Please subscribe to Harvest Your Own podcast and take the time to rate and review the show to help us build a dedicated core of passionate hunters as our regular audience. Until next time, embrace the outdoors and all it has to offer. Thanks for joining us.